I want to take you through what really makes a fishing rod a great rod over a mediocre rod. A fishing rod is kind of like a diving board, a pole vault pole, something you store energy in, and you want to recover the highest percentage of energy out of it. If you take a diving board, which is about the same, we know that we can jump higher off of a diving board than we can a platform.
Yeah.
So we know that we can store energy and recover energy. Okay, fishing rod is somewhat the same thing, but we're going to use analyses of a diving board. If you took a diving board and you jumped on the diving board and you loaded the diving board, and that diving board recovered you and threw you so far and oscillated so long, that would be the remainder of energy that was not discharged. If it discharged 100%, it'd go twink like that and stop, and all of the energy would be, but it doesn't. So it vibrates a little bit because it's the weight left in the thing that keeps it oscillating. Okay, now if I tied 50 pounds under the diving board, I wouldn't have made the diving board any stiffer. I'd have only made it heavier. Stiffness to weight. That's where your whole key is on performance. Stiffness to weight. So now when I jump on a diving board and it has to recover me and the 50 pounds, it doesn't throw me as far, but it oscillates a longer period of time, showing you it did not discharge as high a percentage of energy. So whether it be a fly rod, a spinning rod, or whatever the rod, as I load that rod and I cast that lure, and that tip keeps doing that, the line is going through that tip top, and guess what? The line's going through the air like this. It doesn't go as far, it doesn't have the accuracy, it doesn't have the distance, it doesn't have any of that type of stuff. Plus, when you get a bite on something, this is kind of like a tuning fork. It absolutely transmits the thing. But if I put more weight in there, then it would absorb that sensitivity and not transfer it. So the whole thing is stiffness to weight. So, in the material end of it, you know, we started out clear back, way back in, you know, green heart and lancewood, and then we went to some steel, and then we went to fiberglass, and then we finally get to graphite and this type of things. And it's the modulus of the material. How much material do I have to use? How much weight do I have to use to get this stiffness to weight factor? Okay. Let's say I made one of these out of fiberglass. Okay. And you told me, Gary, this is the perfect rod. This rod is the right length, the right power, and the right action. As an engineer, how could I make it any better? More efficient. If I took 800 pounds and put in the trunk of your car, you would not get 0 to 60 as fast. You would not get the gas mileage. It would not be as efficient. Take the weight out, your efficiency goes up. So what I need is a material that has stiffer per weight, stronger per weight, so I can reduce the amount of material to give you the same stiffness, same strength, more efficient. Okay. Now, it also comes to the makeup of the rod. If I turn around and take this rod and I squeegee coat it, okay? If you know anything about squeegee coating, what they do is they take a piece of gum rubber, they put a hole in it, and on the back side is some finish, and they'll stick this thing through that hole. They'll tip it up, excuse me, get the finish against it, and then they'll pull it out, and that will squeegee it down. Well, what happens, you can imagine, when you put it through a hole that's smaller than this, and you squeeze it out to here, you end up getting a lot more pressure here, so your finish is thinner here, and thicker and thicker and thicker until it gets down to the end. Just the opposite. I want this thin, I want it a little bit more thicker if I'm going to put finish on it up there, but overall, I add a weight that doesn't do anything. Okay, then you get down to guides. The number of guides. A lot of people have tried to take people and say, oh no, you got to have 50 guides. Now you have to have enough guides, but don't put too many guides on. And it's a kind of an old school of custom builders. They put a few more guides on it because the factories didn't do it, and so they said, well, this is why it's so much better.
I just think because
and they wanted to charge them for guides.
Yeah, and that blank didn't deliver that time, because Yes, we move up.
Yeah.
We build best and best and best. Today, edge is new design from you, which you put a lot of time and all your knowledge
Yeah.
to this rod. So my partners from Fishing Catalog and Champion Anglers did first orders, and this is what I like about you, that you told me, Victor, let's do those samples, let them choose, let them see what they want from me, and I will deliver. And sometimes I have to tell them over there who you trust.
Yeah.
Yourself, what you think, or somebody, or Gary. And they immediately said, let Gary do it. So those
like I
guides...
said, if they want a couple extra guides, I'll tie them onto the handle and send, you know, but don't put them on the rod.
Yes.
You know, now, but like I said, you need enough guides too. You just don't need to overweight it with guides. And the thread is the same thing. You don't want to go too far past the end because that's weight. You don't want to get a bubble on your finish. You want it to be nice and level. That's extra weight. You want to keep all that weight, especially out of this part of the rod. That's the rod that's the springboard. That's the rod that sends the sensitivity, and that's the rod that just comes up and stops immediately.